Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Sun is shining here. We finally got through our rainy season. We just haven't had that much rain all year as we've had the last couple of days. Okay, so guess who just came to life? Okay, Linda's here from New York, and Christina is here from Sweden. And you can see the picture. Tippy's tail is wagging. Oh, Debbie's here from Glendale. Susie's from Arlington, Virginia. Sharon is from Delaware. Linda, my Michigander friend from Macomb. And I'm going to put you on hold 1 second here. Okay, sorry about that. Just wanted to get little miss taken care of here so she doesn't interrupt us. Okay, who else is here? Jenny's here from the UK. Welcome, Jenny. Bonnie is here from Canada. Oh, look at there. Somebody else from Iron Mountain. Hi, Chris. Good morning. Mary Lou's here from Florida. Linda saw the tail wagging. Yep, that's my baby. She goes everywhere with me, and yeah, it's usually a wagging tail for her, and that's a good thing. So this morning, we're going to not do an exact repeat of yesterday, but we're going to talk a lot about the same things we did yesterday. Basically, it'll be the same. Um, we had a question asking if I could show the so steady suspension system. And so that is what we did last night. And it's what we're going to do again this morning. Good morning. Jean is here from New York. So nice to see you. Here is two arms of my suspension system. I have them on my table. Okay, my So Steady extension table. So let's take a look at the parts of the suspension system. And I'm just going to get it off of here. There we go. Works very easy. Now I'm going to have to do a lot of moving of the camera to stay in view this morning. Fortunately, Ken last night was able to help me with it and tell me when I was out of camera range. Aaron's here. Terry is here. Terry is not in Michigan anymore. She's in Illinois right now. And Aaron is here from Ohio. Awesome. Okay. This is the clamp portion of the So Steady suspension system. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to straighten up this wire a little bit. Now, this wire is one tough wire. I'm telling you, it is amazingly tough. And what we did last night, we took a look as to how big or how thick a table this would fit on. And what we discovered is you probably need to have this screwed on a little bit anyway. We discovered this is just shy of 3 inches. So it's really rather large, large table. Unfortunately, I know that there's some people who have tables that do not fit in here. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't know exactly what the answer is to that, other than you can attach it to your So Steady extension table, which is where I have mine attached today. Oh, hey, Kathy's here and Di's here. Good morning, guys. Terry says they are tough to bend. Yes, they are. They really are. These things are strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back down just to show you how we tighten it. And I'm going to put it right on the edge of my extension table. I like mine to the left of where I'm working and to the back of where I'm working. Now, a couple of gals last night said some things that really made a lot of sense. They leave these on the back side of their table all the time to keep their quilts from falling off, which is a great idea. I think, if it leave it there all the time. When I had this set up in my quilt shop, Chris can attest to this, I used to hang something on them so people couldn't see what I was doing. Isn't that terrible? I just did it as a joke mostly. Julia's here from the UK. Joyce is here from a chilly Arizona. It's only 45 degrees there. Well, I guess you are chilly. It's actually here we are on the opposite end of the country almost, and it's 42 here. So Joyce, we feel your pain. Kathy's here from Long Island. And I don't know if you can hear, but Tippy is trying very hard to try my patience this morning. So if she gets disruptive, please let me know. I can always take her into a different room. These are the wires that we're talking about, and these wires are tough. I mean, it really go get your ball. It really is tough to bend these, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pull this up a little bit because I think we need to talk about this part of it. Okay. Di says it's only 45 where she's at and high winds. That must mean weather is on its way, Di. This is the tube that we use to wrap our fabric around to go ahead and put in the clamp, which is going to hold it. We're going to cover that more in just a second. But what I want you to notice is that I call this my hand, and this is my arm. And so this portion here would be my wrist. And that's exactly how they act because you can go ahead and bend your wrist around and you can bend this around. So what this is, and I'm going to take it off and show you. The clip itself, it's got a real good spring action to it. And it just pops onto this little ball here. Okay, then we're going to take the collar and we're going to make sure that it's fastened securely with the little collar. Okay, now these kind of loop-de-loops that I have here, you'll see I leave in here. I leave them only because I like to leave them. I think it helps it keep it a little more stable. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no scientific evidence of. Okay, so I'm really not sure if I'm correct here or not, but I do like to leave them here. And what else you're going to notice is they have a lot of spring to them. There's a lot of spring. Okay. Di says she likes mine and always keeps most of them attached. Great plan, Di. Jenny says 55 degrees in the UK. Well, at least you're warmer than we are, Jenny. Isn't that nice? Okay. When we got, of course, as an educator, we got these a little before they were released, and there was nothing on the tubes. So what I found is it did make things a little slippery. So I went to the uh, drugstore and I bought some of this athletic tape. You'll see there's no real glue to it or anything. It's self-sticking. I know a lot of doctors' offices and laboratories, they wrap your arm with this after you have a blood test done. Okay. So I bought a roll and I just rolled some onto my tube. Since I've done that, I've never had a problem. Okay. I'll be honest. But there's also a couple of little tips that I'm going to give you about putting your fabric in here that will hopefully help make it a little easier for you. So today's project that I'm going to work on isn't overly large. Okay, hang on here. It's basically going to be a little project that we put together here for this demonstration. Okay, Erin says that tape's the best. It really is, Erin. I agree with you 100%. Okay, here's the bed of my machine. What I want you guys to see here, it's not big. Okay, it's pretty small actually, but I still can put a big quilt on here and have it work. So let me show you how I do that. I'm going to be doing a lot of camera changes today, and I don't know if that's good or bad because you get to see my messy room. But you know what they say, messy room, creative mind, right? Okay, so here we go. What I want to do, and this is the one I started working on last night. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get it under my foot here. And I also, before we get going, I also want to talk about the batting that I'm using in this. Remember last week I talked about puddling? What we learned when we started free motioning, and I've been doing free motioning a very, very long time now, is that we held our hands in a configuration like this. And I called it a triangle because it does kind of look like a triangle. And when you're free motioning, the only thing you're concerned with is the fabric within that triangle. Okay? That's the only thing that has to be flat and even. And with guided free motion or templates, it's really very, very similar. So I'm going to show you how I set this up so that I have my area where I need to work or want to work, I'm sorry, and everything around it's going to be puddled. Okay. I know this sounds like a weird word, puddled, but it is. And it's going to work beautiful for us. Now, you see how much I've got in here? I have drawn a horizontal, there's my horizontal center right here, and a vertical center, and there it is right there. Okay, what I decided I would do to make this quilt is I am going to use all my 3 and 5 inch spinifex. I'm going to make a lot of flowers on it, just like this. I'm also going to use, let's get those babies out here, our edge to edge template set. Okay, and that's these two guys here. I do have stable tape on both sides of them. We're going to be flipping them. Okay. I'm also going to use my leaf one template from DM Quilting. Has 3 different size leaves in it, which is really nice. I've got my curly cues out, and I am also going to use, and I've really learned to love these, the little rotation bobs. And let me explain those to you just a hair here before we start, because I found out last night people went, "What is that you're using?" What is this? Okay, Terry, I am gonna cover that. Yes, Terry asked the question, "What did you say about doing borders first?" And I am going to cover that in just a second. So these little rotation bobs you're going to see me use today. And what these are is these are for marking when you don't have a large space or it's hard to fit one of your square crosshair rulers in, okay? So these come in so very handy, and I am going to use those. So I will be showing those for you. Now, what I did is I decided I'm going to do this free form. I do have a border on it, okay? And what I did do was I went in and I did stitch in the ditch around the inside of that border. If any of you heard of Ann Peterson, the obsessive quilter, she is the one who taught me how to do that and why to do that and why that works. As free motion quilters, we always start in the middle and we went ahead and smoothed our fabric out as we went. Well, it's easy to stretch that fabric when we're smoothing it out as we're going along. So her philosophy was go ahead and stitch your border in all the way around your border. She also stitches the outside. I just didn't have time. And then you can work on the inside and your border will always remain nice and square. And I said, well, that's great, except for doesn't the inside get kind of poofy and won't you end up with little you know divots and pleats in it? And she said, no, because as you're stitching, our fabric is drawing in and it's going to take up any excess if you have any. I've noticed with this one, there's been absolutely zero excess. Now, it could have something to do too with the batting that I'm using. This batting that I'm using is called Thermore. Thermore batting is polyester. It's not a natural fiber. You can see my hand through it. It's very, very thin. Okay. I am going to be using this as a table cover. So I don't want a whole lot of loft to it. I want it thin so if we set something onto it, it's not going to tip over from the batting at all being too thick. And it I have never had a problem with thermal batting. It has stitched up beautiful every time I've used it. I use it for table runners. I use it for tablecloths. I use it for anything that I want to remain really, really soft with a real flowy drape to it. Okay? It's called Thermore, Thermore, and I found out last night it is available at Connecting Threads. Okay, let's take a look at who all's come in since I said hello. Okay, Julia's here. Patsy is here. Good morning, Patsy. Louise here from Indiana. Okay, let's see. So on a panel, Di asked, would you stitch around the edges first? Yeah, I actually would, Di. I really would. It's not going to hurt anything. It's going to keep that outer square in square. So that will help. Okay. Susie said she will have to try stitching around her border. Good, Susie. Let us know how that works for you. I'm sure it will. Julia says she always starts from the middle. And you know what? That's actually where I'm starting on this one, too. Patsy asked, have I ever used the batting from recycled plastic bottles? Patsy, I have not tried it. I do want to try it, and I probably will one of these days. I just haven't. I did see a sample of it, and I held it, and, it felt like regular batting to me. It's like my mother was zucchini. My mother could take zucchini and make it taste like anything she wanted it to. A plastic bottle recycling is like that. They can take plastic bottles and recycle it into so many different things. It's absolutely amazing. So I would not be afraid, I mean, to go ahead and use it. And good morning, Wanda. Wanda's up a little early today. Nice to see you. Okay, so now that we've got that part covered, let's talk about putting the fabric up here. Okay. Oh, Linda says, I've used the Dream Green recycled plastic batting, and it was great. Well, thank you for sharing that, Linda. So, guys, don't be afraid to try the recycled batting. Marlene says, I have, and the quilt worked up beautiful with that recycled batting. So don't be afraid to use it, guys. Now I'm going to have to get some just to see how it works for me. Now, the other thing I really like about the Thermore, it's got a 9-inch batting rating, which means if you go from here, 9 inches to here, and that's how big your design is apart, your lines of stitching, it's not going to bubble up in the washer and get all yucky. So it's got a really wide batting rating as well. Okay, we're going to pull this up. Now comes the big part. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to hold this up so that I'm not dragging. So this is how I do it, guys. And it might not work for you the way it works for me. If it doesn't, and you have another way that works better, good, go for it. Use it. I'm not a my way or highway kind of girl. I like to double up. So I just kind of fold this back, and then I'm going to get my tube here, and I want to stand up so that I can do this easily for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tube and just go ahead and roll my fabric around it. I think the key to this is making sure that this fabric portion that is on the tube is nice and flat, or just you don't want to have big wrinkles in it. You want it to be nice and there we go. Okay, so there's one half. Now I'm going to do the same with the back portion. I'm just going to come in here, and again, I'm going to fold this over, get my tube out, and fold my tube around it, not having any folds in here, but keeping it nice and flat. And I'm going to go ahead and put it into my arm. Now, what that has essentially done is it has picked up the back of my quilt so that I have no drag on it at all. Okay, I'm going to move you over. No drag, none at all. Now, another thing that's really important, I'm going to back you guys up for this. Whoops, I'm sorry, my microphone hit the camera. Is I don't want the front of my quilt. Here's my table, and I don't want the front of my quilt getting balled up under this table, because what will happen is you'll see this will drag, and you don't want to drag. That's what we're doing. That's what this whole system is about. It alleviates all the drag. So what I will do is you'll see I'm just taking this part, I'm just puddling it up here. Okay. Is it pretty? No, it's not pretty. It really is not pretty. But you know what? It does not matter if it's pretty or not. What matters is that we're going to have a really beautiful workspace to work with. So I'm going to bring you guys back in here, and now you will see the center of my puddle. And there it is. And there is no drag on it at all. Okay. So what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and pull this down just a little bit. Then I want to catch up with some comments here. And then I'm going to show you how I stitch around in here. Okay. All right. There we go. So, okay, Patsy has used the recycled bottling. She said, "I just don't know what the long time life is." Yeah, that's always a question too. That is, Patsy, and it'll be interesting to see as time goes by how many people still love it, maybe 10 years, 20 years down the road. Christina has used the dream green padding and loved it. Okay. Linda says hi to Christina. And Terry says, she said that happens to me. She fights the front. And that's where it's a good idea. If you look here, I do not have the edge of my sew steady table in line with the edge of my sewing table. Okay, here's my table, my sewing table. Here's my sew steady table because it gives me, if I need to keep some of it down here because it's too big up here, it doesn't fall off. If it does, it falls into my lap. Okay, so that does help too. But I just kind of push it around and pull it around and get it exactly where I want it, and then I'm ready to go. I'm gonna pull this back up a little bit. Okay, Kathy said she needs to get a different table. She uses a lifetime table, and the suspension system doesn't work on those. Kathy, I'm unfamiliar with a lifetime table. And you certainly can use your Sew Steady extension table on that with with the suspension system, okay? Okay, Kathy says, when I lift up the front of the quilt so there isn't drag, she finds that she needs to lift her arms way up with elbows out. Neck and shoulders get very fatigued. Oh, that is a good, yeah, that is something that happens to a lot of people. What I do, Kathy, is I keep my forearms here. I'm gonna back it up and show you. I keep my forearms here resting, and they're resting on this quilt, so they're kinda holding things up. So you can always make like a little channel or something to put your arms in. And when you can rest your arms on the table, your shoulders won't get fatigued. I hope that happens. Okay. Susie said it happens to her as well. Yeah, the important thing is to keep things at a proper length. If you're going up like this, what you're doing is you're automatically lifting your shoulders up, and you don't wanna do that. That's what fatigues your shoulders and your back. But if you keep them like this, really loose, it will keep those back and shoulder muscles relaxed as well. I hope that helps. Go ahead and try that. If your quilt is large enough, you may want to put some up here and the rest of it in your lap. And I've done that too, and it works well. You guys are asking great questions this morning. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the quilting that I'm doing here. So, what I'm doing is I'm going to come over here. This is my center. What I want you to notice is you'll see how things are moving as I come over to the center here. And what I'm thinking is this isn't moving when I come this far over, this suspension arm moves a little. You see that? I'm not really wild about that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to move it up about 2 inches or so. I don't need a lot of extra space. And I always pinch these clips together too. I don't know why. It doesn't do anything. It's just me. Okay, here we go down here. Now I've got a whole ton of space to move around in. I started this project last night and I'm going to go ahead and do some more on it this morning so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, Di asked, do I ever use more than two suspension arms? Yes, I do, Di, occasionally. Not often, though. I usually find two is plenty. The only time that I would put an extra one on is if I need to hold it back up here behind my sewing machine. And this is where I would put it. Now, I also have tried using it. As you can see, my table is quite large. It's like 4 feet wide. I think it might be a little bit more. It's almost 10 feet long. So what happens is if I put it on the table, I'm way far away from it. So I have to move my machine up and over to use it on the table and give myself extra room. I will not my husband has offered several times to cut a hole in the top of this table, and I refuse to let him do that. My dad made the table. I want to keep it the way it is. Okay. So I do use my So Steady tables. Now, So Steady has a plethora of tables. And I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but it has a table where your machine actually goes like this. And the table comes out this way and comes out like this. And so if you've seen those sit-down long arms, that's what they call them, the sit-down long arms, it's in the same orientation as that, okay? And I do have a couple of those tables for a couple of my machines. And I'm telling you, those things are awesome because they give you so much more space in front to work, and you can put the clamps on either side in the back, and they just keep everything so nice and steady and even, and it works really, really well. I'm very happy I bought those tables. I didn't know for sure. The key to that is make sure that your cord is long enough or you have a way to set up an extension cord so that your table you can plug in your machine. And you also, if you're going to use your foot pedal, you want to make sure the cord is long enough for that table. Okay. Kathy, why don't I send you a quilt? I need quilt in 2 weeks. Oh, you know what? I would love to, Kathy. I really would, except I've got several that I need to get done too. We've got babies on the way and it's getting close. And I don't even have one even pieced yet. I also have another quilt that I'm working on that I'm just putting the blocks together to get sent out on Saturday. Good luck for me, right? It might not make it. Oh, Deborah, good morning. How are you? Okay, so what I've done, as I stated earlier, I picked out all my 3.5 and 4.5 inch templates, my Spinifex templates. For the center one, however, I've got a 7.5 inch. And I put 4 rotations of this in last night. I'm going to go ahead and complete the other 4 rotations this morning for you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to try and get this set up a little bit better so you can see better, but also so that I can get in here and work a little easier. Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't have a gremlin come in here last night and change my foot height. That's always a positive, isn't it? Okay. Now, what I'm using here is purple thread. I know it sounds like a weird color to use on this, but it's just a light purple and I really like it. Okay, so what I want, no, I'm going to pull you guys back up because I want you to see this better. Okay, there we go. Can you see that really well now? Jeanette, good morning. It's okay that you're late. That's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got my bobbin thread pulled up and I'm holding on to my top thread. And what you're going to notice is what I don't do. Okay, and here we go. This is just my center. Go ahead and get rid of that. And because this is a spin effects, we can go ahead and cut this thread. It's going to be knotted in simply by the number of times that we are going to go over it. Whoops, there we go. Get back on track here. Up we're going to go. This has some curve to it, so I'm going to keep my stitches just a little bit shorter and come around this corner and don't fall off that cliff. That is so easy to do. And back to center. Okay. Now I'm going to come to the other side. Has anybody figured out what it is I'm not doing so far? Checking counts. And here we go with the second rotation. I only have 4 to do on this because I did 4 last night. And what I want you to notice is there's no drag. Other than me coming off the template, okay? It's extremely easy to move around. And there we go, back to center. I'm going to do the third rotation. Linda's got it. Linda Shell says, "You're not turning your quilt." And she's absolutely right. I don't have to turn my quilt. And that's a really awesome thing. And I know that you've heard me say at least once or 1,000 times, you should always learn to stitch in all directions because there will come times that you don't want to be trying to maneuver your quilt around so that you're always stitching in the same direction. And this is one of those times. Okay, and I only have one more to do. All right, so I'm going to come here. And I think before I do that, I'm going to get a little caffeine in me. You know what, Di? I could not have said that any better. Di said, "You're not moving the quilt. This is a good reason to learn quilting in all directions." And you're absolutely right, Di. That's why I do harp on that. I know I nag you guys sometimes about certain things, and I apologize for that. But you know what? It's like your mother always says, it's for your own good. Oh, Carol, good morning from New York. So glad you can join us. And I need to move this microphone just a little bit. Okay, can you still hear me all right? I think you can. Usually, if I can hear it in my headset, you guys are hearing it too. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and get this last rotation in. Then we're going to have some real fun, okay? And while I'm stitching this around, want you guys to think if there's any more questions you have about the suspension system, okay? Is the information helpful? Oh, you know what? I already stitched that one. Yeah, I'm in the wrong one. This is what I get for talking too much. So we're going to come in and I'm just going to cut those. And I'll go ahead and, as Kate says, bonbon moments. except I don't eat bonbons. I wish I could. Oh, okay. Here is my last rotation is gonna come from here. All right, goes down here and pulls that. I will pull that thread back up. This time I may not cut it because it's really not going to be stitched in that tightly like the rest of them are. Okay, now we're on the right rotation. And is that a big problem? No, it's really not because what I will do is I will just go in and I will pick out the portion of that that I don't need, and then I'll bury my thread and we'll go from there, okay? Nice and easy. I like to move my hands. I want to make sure that they're comfortable. Now, where I am not working my body is I am not working my shoulders or my back. My forearms are what's moving the template, and I'm very comfortable. Come down here. Now what I want to do is I want to go back up. I'm going to travel back because I'm now going to use my connectors. So I'm going to travel up a little way and choose right there. That's where my connector is going to come out, okay? Now, that was precision sewing to make sure that it came up right there. And if you believe that, I have some oceanfront property that I'd like to sell you. Oh, goodness gracious. What's the key to not moving the quilt? Well, the key to not moving the quilt is that you have your hands here on your template, which has staple tape on it, which will, you will move the quilt. You're going to go ahead and move your foot inside of the template. Yeah, and you know what? Your quilt does not move with that. So you do want that to stay steady. If you're doing something that you want the quilt to move, then what you want to make sure is that you have your glider well polished. Okay? That's important. What I'm going to do here is I'm also going to just review for a second. Let me see. Oh, I'm just going to review putting this overhead knot in. I'm going to take my needle. I'm going to hold it about an eighth to a 16th of an inch off of the top of the quilt. This is where my knot is. It's right here. It's not on the quilt. If it's on the quilt, you cannot bury it. It has to be above the quilt a little bit, 16th to an eighth of an inch. Anywhere in there is fine. You don't have to get a ruler out and measure it. So now I'm going to put my hand behind the quilt. And the reason that I do that is when I put this needle into the batting, I want to make sure that I'm not coming out of the backing of the quilt. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and draw that through. I'm just going to, and I'm using my self-threading needle. So right now, here's the knot on the quilt, and now it's gone. And it really is that easy. It works beautifully. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at where we want to go next and what we want to do next. Okay, I'm going to move that. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, Deborah, did that answer your question? Um, yeah, you you know, just be aware, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um, don't get your attention diverted. That messes me up every time is when I get my um, my my attention diverted. Vivian says your thread is not in the loop above the tension dial. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Fortunately, with this machine, it does not matter, but thank you for letting me know, Vivian, okay? Okay, Vivian also says she loves her machine like mine. It sounds like a dream, and it does. These vintage machines they do sound like a dream. Okay. Ah, Cayuga County. Jeanette, that's around the Finger Lakes region, is it not? I might not be up on New York geography, but okay. That is the most beautiful part of New York State. All righty, so here we go. Let's get some backing here. Here are our two new um, edge-to-edge connectors, okay? And I was calling them meander squiggles because that was the original name, but they changed it on me, and I didn't realize that. Anyway, these connectors are going to make edge-to-edge stitching an absolute dream. Let's go ahead and use this one, okay? And this one, by using this one, I'm going to be making a loop in it. And I want it to come like this and like this. So I am thinking ahead a little bit. Okay, go ahead, take my first stitch in place. And we're going to come out from behind one of those petals. I'm going to go around and stop. I'm going to turn it over. And now I'm going to come into this direction with it. You could go in any direction you want. You really can. It's just that's the direction that I want to try. So let's go ahead. And you can make this as long or as short as you wish. I'm going to leave it right there. Okay? You'll see this nice little loop here. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to get you guys a little closer, okay? Okay. Let me check comments again. I'm sorry. Um, okay, good. I did answer your question. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Maggie says, good afternoon from Wiltshire, UK. Maggie, welcome. It's so good to have you here. And Jeanette asks, Patricia asks, are those individual templates or do they come as a group? Actually, they are a set. And here is the package. And you wanna know what? They're cheap. I think that it's a good it's a they're $25 US. So I think it's a really good bargain to get these 2 because you're gonna wear them just about wear them out, okay? You're gonna find they are so versatile, it's not even funny. Oh gosh, they are gonna be great. Okay, so now what I wanna do is I wanna make a little flower bud here, okay? And I don't need a whole 8-point rotation, but what I do want is 3 rotations. So there we go. And I'm going to come over here just so that I have the cross with it. Okay? Kind of looks like a chicken foot, doesn't it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm just going to make my center. And then I'm going to this is arbitrary. This where I'm putting my horizontal crosshair, it can be anywhere. That's just where I chose to put it. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take my small 3.5-inch Spinifex 10. Oops, I need to stitch down 2 there first. I'm sorry. And this is the other thing that I find that's really nice about these. You can use these outsides too to get where you want. I'm gonna go ahead, take my spacing gauge, and gonna come right down to that point where they all come together. And what you're gonna notice, there's no obvious break where I changed templates in here. Everything looks very smooth and easy transitions. Okay. Okay. Jeanette, thank you. I get a gold star for geography today. I had a cousin who taught in Syracuse. So we've been out that way and it's absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Gwen, good morning from Central Canada. Yeah, big chicken. Oh, wait, what is that circle marker? Okay, Jeannie Brooks is here from Mount Vernon. And let's take a look again. The circle marker, let me explain that one more time because these are so doggone cute and they're cool. They're called little rotation bobs. And they are, again, inexpensive, $14 US, 17.50 Canadian. And basically what they are is this is 12 rotations and this is 16 rotations. And you saw the way that I use them. I just come in and use the number of rotations I want. The reason that these are so friendly, I guess is the word, or so beneficial is that you can fit them into little spots like this. There's no way that I would have got any of my crosshair rulers in there. Even the mini crosshair rulers would not fit in that spot. So that's where these guys come in. And they are so nice. They really are. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This project is the first time I use them, and I am totally in love with them. They will be on my table all the time and hopefully be able to use them often. Okay, so here we go. I want to make sure I keep everything together here because I have a habit of losing stuff. Okay, so this is my number 3. It's my 3.5 spin effects. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make 3 rotations. Okay. And again, what you're not seeing, you are not seeing me turn the fabric, right? Okay. So now I'm going to go to the second one. And what this is going to make for us is going to make a little bud, a little flower bud. Don't forget your mini spin effects too. If you want really small things, if you want to do this project, but with real small templates, you certainly can use your mini spin effects. To me, those are probably the spin effects and mini spin effects and curly cues are probably if somebody said, if I couldn't afford any other templates, what would you suggest I get? And that's exactly what I would suggest. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. I'm going to take out my curly cues. Okay. Let's see if I get the size that I want. That's it right there. My curly cues, again, I do keep my staple tape on both sides. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and just make some embellishment here. And I've got to move my hand because the camera's in my way. Around we're going to go. Take that stitch in place when we get to the end. Come back in. Stop at the bottom. I'm going to do one more. And again, coming all the way around. My foot feels just a little bit low here, but that's okay. I can make it work. Come back to the center. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. I am going to adjust my foot. But I did, oh, so you all know I think this is pretty important. What I did before I started this project was I went in and I pressed this whole top really well with best press, and I used my clapper. And what that does is that keeps those seams really flat. So what you see here is I've got this big bundle of threads right on top of the seam allowance, and it's not giving me any grief at all. Isn't that awesome? Those tailor clappers are really awesome, awesome tools for us to have. And we'll come there and come back, come around, and I'm going to end up at the bottom of the flower again. There we go, the bud. Put that off to the side. And oops, I'm sorry, I think I'm going to come in this direction right here next. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one, put it around here, and head off. Do I have a plan? Nope. Do I need a plan? No, absolutely not. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go a little further, okay? And I think what I'm going to do is, no, I want to do it this way, just a little bit further. There we go, just like that. You'll see, look at how beautiful that line of stitching is not interrupted in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Good morning, Suzanne. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to take out, there it is, my one. There it is. I knew I had it out here looking for it. I'm going to take out a couple hearts. And you see, I'm just moving stuff around and it stays where I want it to. It's very, very well behaved. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make a line here. And this is just to line up my heart. Okay, I'm going to start with the 2 inch, lining up my line. Normally, would I care? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But because I'm going to do what I'm going to do, I do want that line there, and you'll understand in a second. Okay, there we go. It's a lot easier without cameras in the way. Oh, but that's all right. It's worth it. I just so much enjoy spending this time with you all. Tuesday nights and Wednesday mornings are my favorite days. Okay, so now I'm going to line this up, come around. I'm going to come back to the bottom portion of the line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 1 inch, line it up, and put that in. Don't forget, you need staple tape on both sides of your hearts because that's just the way that they work. And down to the bottom again. Now, again, we could take our Spinifex curly cues, and I'm gonna take just a real small one here. I wanna show you this and put that in and just make another Spinifex curly cue. Oh, my foot just let loose. There we go. Come on, you. Yeah, I may have to do some ripping here and reattach it, but that's okay too. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's not too bad. And the nice thing about it, once it's washed, because this will be washed, nobody's ever gonna be the wiser. So that can save me some time. And that is gonna come right there. Okay, so I came in from this side, this way. So I think what I'll do is I'll come out from this side and yeah, I'm gonna use this one again. And we're gonna, well, actually, maybe what I'll do, there it is. I'm gonna make another one of those loops, okay? Because those are fun. They're just fun to make. So I'm gonna come out this way. Actually, I'm gonna come over no, I need to get out a little way before I put the loop in. So here we go. Whoops. Okay. This is what I'm talking about right there. My quilt got caught up on the edge of my table. No worries. Just gonna go ahead and adjust it. And off we come. I'm gonna stop it right there. And let's just go over around this way. Make sure that needle is in. That's very important. And I'm gonna head over. I head over this way. Now, the other thing that's really kind of neat is that you can make this loop bigger or smaller too, depending on how you hold that template when you're making it. Okay, just gonna go ahead and trim some threads here. And this is what we've done this morning. Back it up a little bit so you can see everything. Okay. I know it doesn't seem like a lot. I wish I had more time with you guys. I really do. We had this discussion last night. Somebody said, "Tell Stacy that we want 2 hours with you." Well, and, I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not. We don't get paid for doing these things. We do them because it's a labor of love, okay? And, you know what? It is for me. I'm here because I love being here. I really do. And I've grown very fond of all of you, and you all give me inspiration to keep going and to do more. And that's so important. That's so important. Linda, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. Suzanne, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope that now you're not afraid of using your arms, your your suspension system. And I want you guys to know that I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm available. You want to give me a holler, you can call, you can text, you can email. If you go on to sostay.com under the education tab, You'll see the drop-down list will show you instructors. If you go to look at my picture, and hopefully it doesn't break your computer, all my contact information is there. So don't be afraid to get a hold of me. You also can leave me a message there and I will see it. And I guess until next time. Oh, don't forget, did I say like, subscribe, and share? Anyway, if I didn't, I said if I did, I said it twice. So if there's no further questions, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. It really means the world to me. And until we meet again, let's quilt. Oh, Kathy had a question. We didn't end. Okay. Will you please tell us where to look up the circles? Um, let me take a look real quick for you, okay? I think that they are under. Let me see what those are under. Little rotation bobs. Okay, come on. Okay. If you type in little rotation bobs, it will give you, they are under quilting and sewing accessories. So if you go under the products tab and click the down arrow, accessories is your third choice. And that is where they are. Okay. So, and like I said, they're not expensive, and I really think that it's a great tool to have. Okay. Ah, Jeanette, if you're cleaning, I can give you my address. They are called little rotation bobs, and I'm gonna go ahead and type that in because then it will always be here. Little rotation bobs. Okay? So we will see you all next week. And again, till then, let's quilt.